Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Alibi Pod. It is episode 17, and we are back on the couch, as one does.
Yes, sir.
Having a little conversation. And as we try to have every however many episodes, we got a pod, and we got a concert recap.
We do.
We went to a concert together.
We did?
Just 2 days ago. It was a metalcore concert. How was the concert?
It was pretty good. Metalcore is not really my scene so much, but I enjoyed it, and it was a good show. Just a lineup of bands. The only one that I had heard of beforehand was the headliner.
Yeah.
So I was impressed by quite a few of them, and I generally enjoyed the show. I feel like maybe you have more to say, though. This is more your speed.
Yeah, I'm not like a huge metalhead, but I do enjoy a good breakdown. I like some metalcore. I listen to it occasionally. There were 4 bands that we saw. First one was like Moths to Flames, then See You Space Cowboy, Silent Planet, and The Devil Wears Prada was the headliner. They were all good shows, and they were all different. We had a different experience for every band. The first one, we kind of stood off and to the left, not stage right, audience left, kind of in the back there, and watched. And they put on a good show. It was a solid show. It wasn't quite as wild, but it could have just been where we were standing for that one. The second band, though, they were nuts. See You Space Cowboy, they were nuts. They were also like younger than the other bands. Like they were closer to our age. Everybody else seemed like they were more late 20s, maybe 30s even. And obviously everybody put on a good show, but See You Space Cowboy was going crazy on stage. Didn't understand like a word they said. It was all screaming, but they were going nuts, which I really appreciate that in a concert. For the Silent Planet portion, we went up on a balcony, so we got to actually like see what the mosh pit and the crowd looked like from above, which was really fun.
Unless you're short, like me, in which case I saw nothing.
Yeah, Gabe has a rough time at concerts. He's kind of short. But for The Devil Wears Prada, the headliner, I went down in the mosh pit, and I have never been in a metalcore mosh pit before. Never been in like a true slamming into each other going nuts mosh pit. So this was my first time. I was a little bit unprepared. I just walked into the middle of it before it started, and I was with everybody. I didn't know what was going to happen. And then the band came out, and the song started, and the breakdown hit, like the song dropped, and I was shoved into the middle of things. Didn't know what was going to happen. I just get shoved in, and now I'm bouncing off people getting thrown around. I have a video of it, and I had my phone up here, and then I came down here, and I was just trying not to get absolutely bullied by the mosh pit, but
That's what's up.
it was a lot of fun. And I did also get to crowd surf during that show. Got a little crowd
Lower
surfing.
points.
Lower points for all of that. So I enjoyed all of that. I thought it was a really interesting experience because in the mosh pit, at least for this show, it was nuts, but it was a very controlled chaos. Like everybody was looking out for each other, making sure nobody was getting hurt or falling down. Like we were crowd surfing and making sure everybody got back safely. Like people were, if they dropped their phone, somebody pick it up. Like if you lost your shoe, they get it back to you, that kind of stuff. Like people were taking care of each other, even though we were going crazy and having a good time. And that's kind of my favorite thing about it. Like it kind of left an impression on me because I like to go to a concert and I like to turn up. You know, I like to have a lot of fun, and I like to not worry about, oh no, nobody else around me is going nuts. You know, because it's weird if you're the only person jumping or whatever, or if you bump into somebody. But when you're just already slamming into each other and packed in like sardines, you don't have to worry about any of that. So it was really cool.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it was. What else you got? Move on. You got a concert rubric for us?
We have a rubric. Yeah, we have to rate everything on the rubric that we outlined a couple of episodes ago.
All right.
Let's just rate the headliner, though. Let's rate The Devil Wears Prada.
The Devil Wears Prada.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how was their stage presence?
So, I was in the mosh pit for at least the first half of the show. I went back up to the balcony after that because I just been in there and I was tired. But I missed it. I have no idea what their stage presence was like. I didn't see them up there
All
very
right,
much.
I give them a 7. Musical and vocal skill.
9.
9.
9.5.
Audience participation.
10 in the mosh pit, like a 4 in the back.
All right, production value. I think I can speak to this one.
What do you think?
There's the lights were good, the smoke and all that. Like, there's a lot of just fun elements. But the thing that really stood out to me for that set, I stood right by the sound booth.
Yeah.
Basically at the optimal sound zone. And one thing that a lot of people don't associate with metal music is just a super clear, well-balanced mix.
Right.
But they had a phenomenal mix. So for that, I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10 here.
Way to go. Fantastic.
I think you get lore points here. What?
I do.
What number, though?
The lore points, I mean, the fact that it's like so clearly, evidently lore points, it has to be like an 8 or a 9 for me, because not only like when you're telling your kids about it, 20 years down the road, they're going to be like, Daddy, did you ever go to a rock concert? And there's like, yeah, I went to a rock concert. I saw this band. And then there's like, yes, I was in a mosh pit and I crowd surfed on this band. So
different story.
That's quite a story to tell. So I'm going to say like an 8 probably.
All right.
If I had gotten kicked out, it would be a 10. But I didn't. Not quite that crazy in the metal band show.
All right. So what else do we have to talk about?
I think we should talk about Shrek again.
Shrek
again. So, on the last episode, we discussed Shrek. Gabe had a hot take, especially for someone who had never seen Shrek.
Very spicy take.
It was quite a take, and we're not going to talk about the take. That's neither here nor there. But what happened was we posted about it online, and the Shrek fans, the Shrek community, I don't know how to describe this, the Shreks, they came at him. These ogres were mad. And listen, I didn't really have much of an opinion on Shrek before, but the level of glazing for Shrek, like, people ride this movie so hard. Like, for the fan base, you got to take another point off of Shrek. So you guys got to do better.
They're annoying.
They're very annoying. This is like Swifties. Like, how dare you insult Shrek? Shrek, it's great. You are such a low IQ. And it's like the dumbest comments. Like, what was that video we saw? It's like the people posting these run-of-the-mill, like, standard troll comments, bro. Like, no. L fan base, Shrek. Just, y'all got to do better. Do better.
I want to bring us back to something that you said on the last episode. As I was editing, I heard you just drop this comment casually, and I said, "Hey, yo."
What?
What?
What did I say?
This
could be anything.
You said, and I quote, "Michael Jackson is still alive, maybe."
Yeah. Yeah, everybody knows the Michael Jackson
Talk to us about
conspiracy.
this.
There is a number of conspiracies, and just Google that quote, Michael Jackson is still alive, maybe, and you will get a whole list of conspiracies, I'm sure. Put it into TikTok.
What I Googled was Michael Jackson conspiracy theory.
That too. There's a lot of those. Or even just like put it into your TikTok search engine, Michael Jackson's still alive, and you will get a very interesting rabbit hole about how he faked his death or something along those lines, and he's like living in Texas as a different person. Like,
Why?
there's been pictures of him. He showed up at random events throughout history since he died, because he was done being Mike Jack, I guess.
Just ready to...
I don't know. Or maybe it could be an Illuminati thing. They were done with him. I don't know the whole lore, but I know that there is a thriving community of Michael Jackson is still alive people.
That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, but I love a good conspiracy theory, so, I mean, whatever. Moving on from Michael Jackson, though, that's the biggest pop star ever in the world, right? I want to talk about an indie band.
An indie band.
And I am told that you have prepared for us an indie band of the week.
Yes, from now on, I'm going to offer a new indie band of the week. Today's indie band or artist of the week is...
Oh, drum roll.
Indio Downey.
Indio Downey. I feel like you've mentioned it.
I may have mentioned him to you. Indio Downey is an indie rock artist and an actor. He's probably not been in any movies that you know, but his dad certainly has.
Who's that?
If you didn't put two and two together yet, Indio Downey's father is none other than Robert Downey Jr.
RDJ.
As such, Indio has probably had some opportunities in the music industry that not all of us have.
A little bit
His
of
dad
nepo,
is
maybe.
famous, but he is an unsigned artist to this day, has released everything independently himself.
Right on.
Indio Downey has a grunge rock sound heavily inspired by Kurt Cobain. A song that I'd recommend to start with, if you want to check him out, would be Plastic Rainbow or September.
I mean, those songs sound like they could be anything. You know?
They're pretty fire, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw a meme about how Indio Downey is like good looking, but everyone's still obsessed with his dad.
He's not that good looking. I mean, he's all right.
Wow, bro. Indio Downey, if you're watching this, which I know you're not, but if you are, we love you, and you are good looking.
I take
Keep
it back,
your head
actually.
up, King.
He has had to do some weird stuff with his hair for different roles as an actor.
That's possible.
And that's the part that's not so good looking.
Hair is very important.
Yeah.
Hair theory is
So he had to like cut it and bleach it, and it like looked awful, and then now he's getting it grown back out. So I take it back. That was
harsh. Indio
put some
Downey.
respect on his name.
Yeah.
He's a good looking guy.
Good looking fella.
He just had a rough go with the hair
It
for a
just
little
wasn't
bit.
the most flattering hair for
Yes.
a period of time.
Yes.
Yeah. But again, speaking of artists, I want to talk about possibly the most valid artist, at least the most valid rapper of all time.
The
And that's
most valid.
The most valid.
This
That's
could go anywhere.
Travis Scott. Travis Scott. Hear me out. Hear me out. Listen.
I'm gonna need you to back this up.
Listen. Of all the rap artists who are popular right now, I can't think of another rap artist who people don't either love to hate on or is super controversial as far as like old head versus new head, or isn't just widely clowned for something. Like all the major stars, like people clown them or hate on them for something or another, or like people say they're overrated, or people say this or that, or you're too lyrical, or you're a mumble rapper, or this. Oh, there's just so many things. But Travis Scott just kind of is cool. Like everyone is valid with Travis Scott. Like you can say I'm a Travis Scott fan, and everyone's like, oh, okay, Travis Scott, cool. Cool guy, Travis Scott. You know, everybody likes Travis Scott. Not like everybody's a fan of him, and he did have a little bit of controversy with his little festival, but he is somehow still a massively popular artist that is not widely hated, ends up with hit songs regularly. Like his song right now is massive, and he gets to go on tour in the biggest venues, and literally everyone goes nuts. Like the most participation probably of any concert is a Travis Scott concert. Like everybody goes nuts. They cause earthquakes at Travis Scott concerts.
Quite literally.
And I think this helps with his being valid. He doesn't play the social media game. Like he's not on TikTok like, hey, this is Travis Scott, listen to my new album. He doesn't make stupid skits. He doesn't try to shove his stuff in your face through his social media accounts. And he just gets to be a valid artist in a world where we hate to let anyone or anything be valid.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting take. Like, I don't think I probably ever hear anyone say Travis Scott is the greatest rapper ever.
Right. No,
but
never.
I also can't think of the last time I heard someone hating on Travis Scott.
Right. It just it doesn't happen widely, at least not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
And sure, he's not the greatest of all time in anybody's book, probably. I mean, there might be. I feel like there's a lot of people who listen to him more than other rappers.
I'm sure.
But-
He's a huge artist.
Right, but I don't think there's anybody who wants to argue he's the greatest lyrical mind ever to write a rap song or anything like that. But I can't think of anyone who's more valid. Tupac himself is not more valid than Travis Scott. That's a wild
he's
take
pretty
if
widely
you're over
hated,
the age
though.
of 30. But the thing is, yeah, Tupac doesn't have the appeal to the younger generation.
I have something to share that I'm just really excited about.
What's that?
That's happening in culture. Are you familiar with the clothing brand Jesus Loves You?
I am, yes.
I wear their merch pretty regularly. I buy the stuff. I like it. So Jesus Loves You is one of the first explicitly Christian fashion brands.
Yes.
And they are good.
Yeah.
Like, their designs are good. It's a lot better. Historically, there's been some vaguely Christian brands, like Fear of God, for example.
Sure.
Or some explicitly Christian brands
Yeah.
that are not good.
Yeah.
Right? We've all seen, the T-shirts at Mardell, or Walmart back in the day.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And a lot of times they're messing with other IPs and stuff too. Like, it's just not cool.
Unoriginal.
Right? Jesus Loves You is very original, very unique, and genuinely fire.
Shout out to Jesus Loves You.
I follow their founder on Instagram. His name's
sir.
Trenton.
Trenton.
He's fire. Once we start getting guests, actually, he would be a valid guest to have on the pod.
You think Trenton wants to come on our pod?
I don't know if he wants to, but he
Trenton, come on the pod, buddy.
Might be someone to pursue once we start bringing some guests on.
Yeah.
But anyway, love the brand, love what they're doing. I
Yeah.
support it a lot. I buy their stuff. I'm subscribed to all their little things, right? Have you heard of ComplexCon? It's a fashion conference in Las Vegas. It's one of the biggest fashion conferences. I don't know that much about it either because I'm really not in the fashion world like that.
Yeah.
But I know it's a pretty dang big deal, and it is not in any way Christian, right?
Yeah.
So this year, Jesus Loves You was the first ever explicitly Christian brand to be invited to ComplexCon.
Round of applause for that. Shout out to you, Trenton. Shout out
It's
to
a
Jesus
pretty big
Loves
deal,
You.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I've been kind of tracking with all the stuff that's going on, online, seeing them talk about it and hype for it. And I actually want to show you, they shared this on their Instagram, the 3D render for their booth for ComplexCon, because you have to have a booth, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is the way it works for all the vendors at ComplexCon or if this is just the way that it ended up working out for them. But it was a very fast turnaround time from you're invited to, we need to have all of your details, to you need to be here with everything for the convention.
Yeah.
Just moving. So it was you go from having no idea that this is even something that could possibly happen to we have to be there with all the merch and the booth design and everything, from, I think they're based in Atlanta, so from Atlanta to Las Vegas.
Wow, yeah.
With all this stuff. So this is the 3D render that they shared of their booth.
Wow.
I'll throw it up on the screen for the
like
viewers.
A pretty big booth, huh?
Yeah, good size, but also just genuinely fire.
That's a dope design. Look at that. I like the stained glass concept and
Right.
the pop art thing, and then the clean design on the other side with the contrast. And wow, yeah,
it's just very modern.
that's a good design.
Very sleek and clean and genuinely fire. And just doing that thing that I've talked about for years where the Christian brand should be pushing the boundaries.
Absolutely.
In terms of creativity.
100%.
And just a huge shout out to Jesus Loves You for doing that.
Oh yeah, they're the goat for that.
Yeah, it's fire. And also some names that you would probably know, and some names that maybe you don't know. I don't know how tapped in you are with all of the Christian influencer space, but people like Ron Starling, John Rush, Carl Lentz went out there to Las Vegas to help just kind of rep it and,
Pulling Carl Lentz is a crazy move.
Yeah.
That's wild.
He's a conversation for another day, but I'm actually kind of a big fan of what's going on lately with Carl Lentz and Transformation Church and the B-side and all that
Transformation Church, huh? Did you see that Alex Jean was at Transformation Church?
Yeah, so they had a
album release party or something?
Not a release party, a live album recording Sunday. So it was Album Sunday, and they recorded their new album live.
Oh, so it was their album, their worship album or something?
Yeah. Which their...
Gospel album.
Yeah, it's gospel, urban, even hip-hop. Paris Chariz also goes to church there and is a part of that.
Well, that's cool. I mean, that's dope that they did that. I saw a video. He pulled up with a guitar in a Cybertruck or something.
That's sick.
Which is absolutely nuts. Crazy way to do a live album recording.
I think it's a little wild to me that Teslas are the thing that everybody buys.
There are dumber looking vehicles. Let's be
Rappers get their first paycheck and they buy a Tesla though. Like, that seems
I
to be the
mean-
vibe. Like, musicians. Like, you see a lot of people, Nashville, Atlanta, on either coast, like, people that are creatives or whatever, like, they don't make that much money. They're not that famous. Influencers, like, all these people, they get their first paycheck and they buy a Tesla.
Well, that's because Tesla's the affordable luxury car, I guess.
I guess.
It's not like it's like not it's not buying a Bugatti, you know? It's not a gas guzzler, it's not a $1 million car. And it's going to be a good car, it's going to be a reliable car, but it is still kind of high end and luxury compared to like a Ford for the most part, you know?
It's true.
So
So
it makes a
last
little bit
week,
of sense.
last week while I was editing the podcast,
Yeah.
I put on a YouTube video to watch, kind of listen to in the background,
Yeah.
and it was from Patrick Cece
Oh, love Patrick Cece.
talking about Bo Burnham.
Hey, I watched that video myself.
I know. I believe you have some thoughts to share.
That's right. I watched that video from Patrick Cece about Bo Burnham. And Bo Burnham, if you don't know, is sort of a comedian, but in a way, he's a modern philosopher. He is, to 2024, probably about the closest we have to a philosopher outside of Jordan Peterson. And he...
At least in like pop culture.
At least in pop culture.
Like someone who's doing it in a way that's very relevant and seen by a lot of
right.
people.
So his thing was, he has this kind of this monologue on like the state of the internet and the state of the world with the internet. I say monologue, I don't have the right word right now, but it's just, he talks a lot about what society has become due to the internet and social media and the way life has disconnected and been chopped up like that. And I think he has some really interesting thoughts, and some more based and some less based, but I think it's really interesting that we have this society in which art is only a viable possibility within the realm of content and not cringe. Like, there's this weird, like, we're discouraged from doing anything. Like, there's nothing you can do because you have to worry about whether or not it's valid or corny. And that's just something that every artist or every person trying to contribute anything is going to struggle with in 2024. And you have to fit into this very, very weird box and walk this tiny tightrope of both creating content so people can get out there, but also don't be shoving your content in people's face or be making corny content. You just looking for views and all that, blah, blah, blah. And the only way to have any kind of contribution to society is through the internet, almost. You have to, if you want something on a large scale to contribute to society or to impact the world we live in, you have to use the internet. But we also fight very hard to shut down anything that comes onto the internet that we don't deem to be valid or interesting in whatever context. And people get clowned for everything, but it's just such a very fine line between make the content, but also like people can smell if you're making content to promote something and they don't want that, you know? It's just like people, there's no way to win, you know? And I think there's also this weird thing that's happened to discussion and conversation in this society. Like, the dialogue that we have as people is now comment sections, and we've lost all kind of concept of consequences or saying it to someone's face, you know? And we don't know what's okay to say. We don't understand how to have a real conversation if you don't like something or there's any kind of tension in it, because we're used to a comment section where you can just call someone a slur or say something awful about their mother or be like, you're awful or you're stupid or put the fries in the bag. You know,
just put the fries in the bag, bro.
There's a number of things that, you know, there's a couple of comments that you see regular, like, oh, this is hot garbage. It's like, this is cheeks, bro. Like, it's dumb. And people have destroyed, like, society conversation, connection, dialogue, art, all of it just went downhill. And Bo Burnham, I guess, blames the internet and social media, which seems right. I don't know if that's the perpetrator or a symptom, but it's just kind of sad to me. And I don't know what the solution is or how to beat it. Like we are kind of locked into this system. And at this point, people recognize it and hate it. And that just makes it harder to use in a positive way, I think.
I think that the democratization of art has been a societal net positive.
Yeah.
But the degeneracy of society then circles back to ruin the democratization of art.
I like that.
I think maybe there's a causation issue.
They feed off of each other, in a sense?
It's not like one caused the other per se.
Yeah.
It's just that they both end up feeding the machine and it's fed by other things too. I mean, politics, bad relationships, like there's so much other junk.
Right.
Really, ultimately, it probably comes down to just everything can probably, at the root, be traced to godless society.
Yeah, 100%.
Like when you get rid of objective morality, then like there's no point to the democratization of art or the enhancement of culture or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think probably all of the different things are symptoms of the problem.
Yeah, I agree. And a whole rant about it, but I feel like the point that I wanted to make there, and I agree with you about the cause of it, but it's just this weird thing where it's both encouraged and discouraged. And it's become self-aware enough that we know what you're doing as soon as you post a video online, and everybody want to be a rock star, but we also want to make rock stars and listen to music,
Right.
It's just,
or consume other types of art. Yeah.
We're consumers, but we hate the people who create what we consume.
Consumers that hate creators, yeah.
Yeah, we're consumers that hate creators. And that's not even just true of art. Like, that's true of everything. Like, the people who live, with the iPhone drinking Starbucks hate Apple and Starbucks.
Hate big corps.
Yeah, it's like, and people hate billionaires as if they don't absolutely benefit off of.
Bro, people hate farmers. The people that eat food hate farmers. It's wild.
So weird. We're a society of consumers that hates creators. And social media is very much a reflection of that. And that's my philosophical thought for this.
I forgot to start a timer for today's podcast.
Yeah.
So, based on my estimation, we are at time.
Yep.
Approximately.
We'll see y'all next week.
See you next week.
Bye.